how privileged he is to be here and how nervous he is to try and talk with us. But, you know, how much we've helped him in his life, because, you know, sometimes you just need that one person to kind of just make that 1 degree adjustment and you'll go right back to home. If not, you know, you travel too far off course, that 1 degree, you know, you could end up who knows where. So when he came and said that stuff, and people were trying to pull him away after it was over, so I was like, man, don't do that. The fans that come from foreign countries to come and see us, you know, it ain't cheap, especially nowadays. You know,
oh, yeah.
Gas, $12 a gallon over in France, and we have a French couple that come all the way over to see us because they're, you know, diehard fans. They flew to Phoenix to see us. I saw them there, and I was thinking, man, I don't know, maybe your husband's a doctor or something, but you know what? You spend a lot of money coming to see this band, and we're going to make sure that you feel, you know, our gratitude for that. You know, you can't buy a relationship with a band, but I think a band that has musicians in it that are in touch with reality, understand the effort that fans make and how expensive it is to buy the T-shirt, to pay for parking, to get a couple of drinks, you know, to buy a bag of popcorn.
Dave, that's the thing about you is, I'm not just saying this. I've gotten to know a lot of famous musicians. I've gotten to know a lot of Hollywood folks, not like you have, but even if they're good people, they still get a sense of entitlement. You are so down to earth, and that is, I think that's what makes you so human. That's valuable.
Well, and again, you got to think where I grew up. I grew up in the gutter, so, you know, I mean, all this wealth and stuff like that, it's important for me to be able to provide for my family, but I love macaroni and cheese. You know, I'm a simple guy. You know, if I'm starving, you know what McDonald's will do. You know, but I mean, I know that's.
You told me the Louis Farrakhan story. I haven't seen that video yet.
Yeah, it was on one of the major news networks.
I need to look that up.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, actually. Although, you know, I respect people who dedicate their life towards trying to pastor or shepherd people. I don't know enough about this dude to know where.
Sure, but tell me the story. It's funny.
His whole thing was, but he was mad because McDonald's was. He had said that McDonald's was poisoning them, and that they put stuff on the food, and it's addictive. And, you know, a lot of us are aware of that. We've known that for years and years and years. It's great to see, you know, people of all races and all walks in America be able to, you know, discover the facts that are going to help them to live healthier or more prosperous lives, you know. I mean, I'm a born-again Christian, but, you know, I don't push that on anybody.
Sure.
You know, I mean, I had to tell the guy in Seattle, you know, I'm a Christian. Stop asking me these questions, dude. I don't, you know. Gay stuff is not part of my life.
No, they make it the issue like you're attacking them. That, you're not even bringing the issue up. But no, do the Farrakhan imitation. It was really good.
Well, I don't.
It was good at dinner.
I don't know how to do a Farrakhan impression, but I just remember that he was growling. He was very angry, and he said, I feel bad even saying it.
You said they were laughing at him, though.
They started laughing, and he said something like, GD, stop laughing. I ain't kidding. They're trying to kill you. And you know, I remember Louis Farrakhan and Malcolm X and stuff from when I was growing up, and that they were just smartly dressed men of color, and they had their own beliefs, and they tried to encourage betterment for what they thought. You know, I mean, because we all have our ideologies that we believe.
They're trying.
Yeah, and
trying is what it's all about.
Yeah, and
God will bring you the rest of the way.
I know that he's had a lot of changes in his heart lately, from what I've heard.
Yeah, yes.
And you know, it was just neat to see, you know, just somebody, you know.
The way you told a dinner was hilarious, and I haven't looked it up yet, but I believe the story happened, because we'll probably play a clip here on the show.
Yeah, just play it. It's a lot better than my impression.
Have you been to McDonald's lately? I'm not laughing, damn it, I'm not laughing. And damn it, don't you laugh. Because they're killing you with your taste buds. You don't understand Satan, but you'll hate me for exposing them today. There's a slime in the burger. It's got silicone. They've practiced how to deceive your taste buds.
He's like going, hey, listen, they're putting stuff in this to make it addicting. And they laugh at him. He's like, the Happy Meals. And he goes like, listen, GD, I'm not joking. They're killing you. Is it like a second or third wind? I mean, I'm really seeing some electricity. And again, I like the stuff you've done the last 10 years. It's just that it seems like you're on fire, Dave.
I think, you know, me getting honest with myself and starting to let the public know that I have some things that I know that I struggle with, and to reveal it, it took all the power away, the secrecy of, trying to struggle with these things in the dark. I remember when I first went to England, they thought that I'd lost my mind because of the way that I spoke, instead of being tight-lipped and not telling any family secrets or anything like that. I've always been really open with our fans. And I think when my book came out, that really changed things for a lot of people.
The book?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about the book.
The book,
bestseller.
Yeah, it was a New York Times bestseller. And the timing for me was great because there's been an enormous groundswell of people writing books now. And, I was really blessed that mine became a bestseller. Some of the people that are writing books, I think they should save the paper. There's another musician, I saw his book and I flipped through it, and first page I landed on, he was talking about sucking and doing all these drugs and stuff and having sex with girls and all this stuff. And I flip a couple more pages, more drugs, more sex. And I flip a couple more pages, more drugs and more sex. And I know this guy, he's not very attractive, so I'm thinking, this ain't true. And you think a lot of these stories, they expected me to be like name calling and slinging mud and everything. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted people to understand me.
Get the essence.
Get to know who I am. Get to know what makes me tick, why I believe the things I believe. It's not because I'm some nut. I was brought up as a Jehovah's Witness, and I rebelled, and I got into witchcraft. And then when that really destroyed my life, I was sitting on a hill one day, and I mean, it should be this easy for all of us to find peace with our Creator, whatever that power is that you believe in, whether it's God or it's, a crystal or whatever your trip is. Mine's Jesus and God. I was sitting on a hill in Hunt, Texas, and there was a cross on the hill, and I looked at it. And, I've always been taught as
it's right outside Austin.
As a Jehovah's Witness that crosses are bad, right? That Jesus died on a stake, and I'm thinking, well, I'm looking at this cross, and I'm thinking, I've been taught this is so bad. And I said 6 simple words, what have I got to lose? And I went down and I saw this little pastor, and I said, I want to do the sinner's prayer. And he said, well, you got to get on your knees. And I said, you know what? I'm Dave Mustaine. I'm too cool to get on my knees to pray. So, I did the sinner's prayer sitting up. I was resistant till the end.
The power is getting on your knees.
Yeah, of course. And now, I'm completely surrendered. My life's improved 100 million times. And I've actually got some really good friends now. People that most people would think, well, why are you friends with him? He's not a celebrity. He's not a musician. You talk about me knowing people in Hollywood. I made a preference in my life to not know a lot of people in Hollywood. People part of my circle, sure, I know them, but I'm not interested in being a socialite there. Because,
exactly, it's hellish.
Yeah, and I just think that, when you're dealing with an actor, you're dealing with an actor. You're going to be friends with an actor. You never know. It's like a box of, chocolates with Forrest Gump. You never know what you're going to get. That whole thing, I had a bodyguard one time who lived with a guy that was an actor, and every day he would leave, you didn't know who you're talking to. You didn't know if he was in character or who he was, because
it is weird.
He would say nice things, and it's like, you expect him to go like, marvelous, this kind of stuff, Well,
there's the narcissism. I mean, the archetype of the actor is like a narcissist. There's a lot of people who aren't narcissists who are actors, but yeah, it's all about this false reality for them, and that's why the system uses them so much. Dave?
Sometimes it's a form of escapism, though, because music has been a really great way for me to be able to, go in the corner and cry it out with my guitar. I remember when Cliff Burton died, I got in a car, I went downtown, and I did something that, was regrettable. I went down there and got some party stuff, and I went back to my house, and I tied one on, and I picked up my guitar, and I wrote In My Darkest Hour in one sitting. It wasn't in one time all the way through the song from beginning to end, and they only do that in movies, but, it was one sitting, and I remember just crying and just thinking, why did he die, and how come I found out the way that I did? Because I didn't find out from the band. I found out like through a third party and stuff, and because our relationship had so much stress over the years, it didn't dawn on them to call me directly and tell me, hey, this happened. So
is it true? It was like the bus was laying over, and they described it like the Wicked Witch, the boot sticking out.
I don't know about that part. I don't want to be too graphic.
No,
I don't know enough about what happened. I just know that he was sleeping in one of those European buses with a window next to the bed, and the bus lurched because it was swinging back and forth from hitting black ice. You know, we hit black ice when we were driving out, when I was still in Metallica, when we drove out to New York. That's why in the first album, Kill 'Em All, why it says, fuck you, Laramie, Wyoming. Because, you know, we crashed in Laramie, Wyoming. It was my turn to drive. You know, I'm a little surfer kid, and I'm driving along, and all of a sudden the truck starts going like this. And I'm going, what is happening? And all of a sudden the thing turns around, and then it stops in the middle of the freeway, and 18-wheelers are going, past us, and this Jeep starts spinning towards the front of the U-Haul. I pull this guy out of the way, and it smashes right into where he was just standing. He could have died. So that's what that whole thing on the album is. You know, you see those credits, and you always wonder what on earth they mean.
Now, we've got a big bus, and when that thing's going 80 miles an hour, I mean, it's like, this thing is huge. I'm telling the guy driving, I'm like, I don't care if we get there late, slow down.
That's too fast for a bus to go.
Oh, I knew, exactly.
Yeah. We tell our driver that, you know, he's got to drive really cool. You know, I mean, especially when they do those long hauls. You know, one of the things I think is really cool that America's starting to do is they're making the drivers have to break their shifts up now. You know, there's an epidemic with our trucking industry here in America with them having to work incredibly long hours to make ends meet. And sometimes people make the ultimate sacrifice, and they'll compromise their integrity and rely on stimulants to do their job. And, you know, when you're not clear-headed, sometimes you make mistakes, especially judgment calls behind the wheel when you're driving a truck. People get hurt. I remember reading a book a little while ago about this guy that just got ran over by an 18-wheeler in his car, and he survived. He was crushed to death scientifically, but he lived. And I just saw something on the news that just happened just a couple days ago, too, that a woman had been run over by an 18-wheeler and she lived. And I mean, how can you not think that there's some kind of a good force in the world when stuff like that happens? You know, say you don't believe in you know, God. You got to have some kind of belief in a power that's greater than yourself when you see stuff like that happen, you know, where people have these miraculous escaping death kind of things. You know, we call them guardian angels and stuff like that, but I've had a lot of those close calls. Just created a new guitar app that teaches kids how to play guitar, and I actually was involved in this, so the tablature's authentic. And that company's called Rock Prodigy. And
by the way, I saw the reviews in Wired and stuff, and they're not hyping it. They say it's like the best.
5-star.
Yeah, they say exactly. They say this is like revolutionary.
Yeah, and I'm going back home when we leave. I'm visiting with you to do some more songs on it because it is such a revolutionary program. And finally, now kids that learn tabs. I remember one time I watched this guy. Well, I didn't watch him. I read some tablature. I have to count the notes and stuff because I'm self-taught. But this guy named Wolf Marshall, who is a famous tablature guy, had done one of our songs, and the very beginning of Holy Wars, 15 notes, right? I think he had like 4 mistakes in the 15 notes. It was at least 3 or 4 mistakes. Now, if you equate that over the entire song, how many mistakes? And that's me playing by myself, and he couldn't even get that. So I thought, this guy's done great for guitar players, but you know what? There is a ceiling with all people's ability, and since I believe mine's a gift from God, you know what? I sometimes don't even know what I'm doing. So a lot of times when people try and interpret it, I can't even say if it's right because it'll just